Life is chaotic, but it's also have an order. Like yin and yang, chaos and order are two sides of the same coin. And even within the chaos, there is a beautiful order, and even within the order, there is a beautiful chaos. Most of these things are relative, obviously, but I feel that like the duality in the universe, such as masculine and feminine energy, yin or yang, likewise, chaos and order are two sides of the same coin, and one cannot exist without the other. In a lot of ways we need both, because at the extreme level, extreme chaos causes suffering, and so does extreme order. That's one of the reasons why we negotiate with the systems, with the world, with the universe, to figure out how much control or how much access we have to the chaos and order. And even within our individual lives, we are going through this chaotic moments, and at times we have to pull ourselves through the bootstrap and create an order to that chaos. Otherwise, that chaos can engulf the entire life. And on the other end, like people who are super disciplined, super orderly, they miss out on the chaos of the life if they tend to be following, say, um, a specific schedule to the dot. Then they are not actually living a life. They are just acting as a machine, so to speak. So chaos and order both are needed, and but at the same time, it's something which we have to negotiate in a given circumstance, in the given moment. For instance, when while, let's just say, while playing any sports, so right, like the order is sort of implied because you want to have the discipline and follow the rules and whatnot, but the chaos is also required, because then you would play or think out of the box and be more playful and innovative and do things which doesn't fit in. And that's where people, the goats of any particular sector, they shake the entire sector by creating their own chaos within the known order of the sector, so to speak. And one of the reasons why I feel that these are the attributes which every one of us should gauge in our personal lives, and figure out what our relationship to these two forces are. Because if we don't do that, then we end up being following the chaos in the order of the world around us, rather than us actively handling it or managing it. For the same reason, the order from the system, says a school, a company, or a government, these are sort of laid out for you, and you don't have any choice. I mean, if you want a degree, then you have to complete all the classes or the credits, but you can still play around with that. You still have a bit of chaos within that. But at the end of the day, that order sort of lay down the path for you. And that's exactly what happens if you don't end up choosing your own order. And that's where it's very difficult to practice. It's easier said than done, obviously, because first of all, creating an order means having a vision of where do you see your life. Only then you would be able to structure your life in a way that it leads to that eventual vision. So that's an order. And at the same time, you have to let yourself explore and make mistakes, and that's the chaos. And while moving towards that eventual goal, you have to make mistakes, because that is something which is actually helpful for you to grow. So if you are scared of making mistakes and want to have a perfect outcome every single time, that's the order mindset, right? Like you want everything to be in an orderly way. There shouldn't be any room for mistakes, but that adds too much pressure on you, especially if you're starting up in a specific industry, so to speak, or in a specific job or whatever it might be. And that's where you have to like train yourself um, to accept those mistakes. And I bet, like, there are a lot of people who try to be a perfectionist, and they end up being more unhappy because they don't let their chaotic side to take over and make say mistakes so that they can learn from it. Regardless, I feel that in my personal life too, I'm still figuring out the chaos and the order, and also how to handle myself when I'm like in a too much chaotic sense or too much orderly sense. And to be completely honest, I'm more of a chaotic person. I guess that's why I call myself an artist. But I do need an order and structure in my life where I can channel that chaos and create something, rather than letting that chaos create its own order. And in that sense, if you think about it, like if you don't have any structure in your life, then the things you do kind of become your structure. For instance, if you spend too much time watching TV, that's chaos. If you spend time, let's just say, or if you spend money and time smoking a cigarette or drinking alcohol or being addicted to any specific addiction, that's all chaos. And if you don't control that chaos, then that becomes an order, that becomes an addiction. So your natural pattern would be like, just start watching random thing every single day, because you don't have a definite structure, you don't have an order which aligns with your vision. So you end up using that chaos, and which in turn become its own order. So these are natural part of the universal patterns, I guess. You can't separate the chaos from the order, and can't separate the order from the chaos. And the best thing to do is embrace the both, and in any given moment understand, by breaking down which part is chaotic, which part is orderly, and what do you need depending on the situation. There are going to be situations when you have to let go of things, let go of being an orderly or serious person, and just play around with chaos, especially if you're around friends and family, and or having a good time. And on the other end, there are going to be situations when you have to control yourself, set your boundaries, and create this order within that situation, so that it doesn't go out of hands, so to speak. So that's a skill set which I'm sort of working on. I mean, to be honest, like I sort of started thinking about this just today. So I'm gonna be checking out like what strategies I'll be using, as well as how aware I would be about these two factors in day-to-day circumstances. Because awareness is the step one in a lot of ways, because if you're not even aware that you're having a chaotic or orderly moment, then it's there's no point. I mean, you don't even know what you're experiencing. So awareness is the step one, as it is for most of the things. But once you have the awareness, then the second step is to separate the chaos from the order, and see which one you need to reach out to kind of attain your goal. And depending on, whatever you need, you got to take specific action. So with that intention, I'm gonna start my today's meditation, which would be based on Vipassana technique, which is as simple as just sitting in and observing your natural flow of breath. The best part of Vipassana is that you don't have to add any energy to the meditation. All you're doing is like just observing it. You're not constantly or of chanting something, or you're not actively breathing deeply or shallowly. Even though there are times within Vipassana when it's better to take control of your breath and take a deep breath, especially when you're sort of like losing the focus, or when you are feeling sleepy, so to speak. So it's good to kind of take control of the breath and then have those deep breaths. But in general, when you're practicing Vipassana, all you need to do is just observe the natural flow of your breath. And breath is such a fascinating concept. These are it's one of those attributes which is not appreciated much. Even I don't appreciate it at times, and I feel sort of disappointed in me that I don't appreciate it. Otherwise, breath is one of those attributes or factors which can drastically change your state of mind and state of emotion. And that's why everyone asks us to take deep breath when we are feeling anxiety or fear or any other attributes which is clouding our judgment and thinking. Breath sort of like clears the air or blows the cloud away, and you'd be able to think through the process better, for sure. So that's why I use the deep breaths during Vipassana technique or Vipassana meditation, especially when I'm sleepy or I'm lost in my thoughts. Then the best way to ground myself is through deeper breath. With that note, I'm gonna get started.